physical TBR. So I have a stack of books that are my priority reads for 2026. It's a lot. I know the trend is 26 for 26. I probably have like 40 for 2026. And my reading goal is only 45. And I know I'm going to read a lot on my Kindle. So this is just, theoretically what I'm going to try to get to this year off my physical TBR. And they are all books that I bought with intent and I would love to read. So let's start knocking them out this year. Before we get into it, you know the drill, you know the deal. We gotta do some channel maintenance, channel hygiene, channels are Tamagotchis. So if you're new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back. Oh geez, if you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. If you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like. If you like, leave a comment. It could be anything related to the video. It could just be a hello, a few emojis, whatever, as long as it's cool and respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I've linked my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever, but every $1 to help us will allow me to continue to make content. Also, you are invited to my Patreon. I know not everybody can come, but you can't say you weren't invited. The link to my Patreon is down below, and I post a lot over there. If you want extra content, but you don't want to leave this platform, you can join YouTube memberships by clicking join below or going to my channel page, clicking the join button. That is content that is exclusive to YouTube members. Alright, let's get into it. I'm probably going to have to do this in 2 videos because it's a lot, you know? So these are most of the paperbacks that I would really like to get to this year. Starting with Giovanni's Room. It's not long. This is about a 1950s Paris of American expatriates, liaisons, and violence. A young man finds himself caught between desire and conventional morality. David has just proposed marriage to his American girlfriend, but while she's away on a trip, he becomes involved in a doomed affair with a bartender named Giovanni. With sharp, probing insight, James Baldwin's classic narrative delves into the mystery of love and tells deeply the moving story that reveals unspoken complexities of the human heart. I've heard nothing but good things about this. I've never heard anybody say they did not like it or enjoy it. 170 should be a fairly quick read. I've got to read an Ann Patchett. I read my first Ann Patchett last year, and I loved it. However, I did do it on audio, so this would be my first read. And this is The Dutch House. Ann Patchett. It's a Pulitzer Prize finalist about, at the end of the Second World War, Cyril Conroy combines luck and a single canny investment to build an immense real estate empire, propelling his family from poverty to enormous wealth. His first order of business is to buy the Dutch House, a lavish estate in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Meant as a surprise for his wife, the house sets in motion the undoing of everyone he loves. This is a deckled edge. Love me a deckled edge. I would rather have a deckled edge than a sprayed edge. Give me a deckled any day. I'm down for the deckle. Okay. This one, I meant to read it. It was on my TBR for several months. Never got to it. Look how crusty. I love how old, dinky, and crusty this is. This is Sliver by Ira Levin. I believe he wrote The Stepford Wives, but this is a book that propelled the movie that I used to watch as a child that I had no business watching, okay? About this guy who owns a high-rise and he spies on everybody. And it was like Sharon Stone and which Baldwin? Billy Baldwin. So you know that there was some crazy stuff, right, that I shouldn't have been watching. But anyways, the story was good. And I picked this up at a library sale. I still haven't gotten to it. I mean, this is probably, he probably wrote this in the 80s. or something. An uptown high-rise glittering Manhattan sliver building. A successful single career woman. A shocking secret hidden in brick and concrete. I don't remember everything about it, so this is going to be a good read. And then maybe after I finish it, I will watch the movie again. I want to read my first Daphne du Maurier. I have never read Rebecca, but I love it. How can I say that if I've never read it? I don't know, I just did though. I watched a movie adaptation and I have just heard the first page of it several times. I don't know, but this one is Jamaica Inn. Jamaica Inn, Jamaica Inn. Look at the old crusty, we love it. Her famous story of dark events along the Cornish coast, a strange greeting and sinister hints await Mary Yellen when she comes to live in Jamaica Inn with her evil giant of an uncle. Quote, I'm not drunk enough to tell you why I live in this godforsaken spot and why I'm the landlord of Jamaica Inn. End quote. The coarse brutality of Joss Merlin and the enigmatic character of his brother Jem give an exciting foretaste of her triumphant novel Rebecca. So this must have been before Rebecca. Anyways, not thick. Oh, that's weird. Oh my god, look you guys. This is why I love getting old books. We're talking, this book is, I love it. Jaunty knit tops, $8.97. In lots of any two. So these were $4 a shirt. Here's the Persian print. This one is called Brush Strokes. Oh my god. A couple more options for you. So, it's just, I stuck that in there, that's a bookmark. Okay, crazy. Our short story. Our short history. This is about a single mom. She is just her and her son for the last 6 years. It's just been her and her son. I think he's becoming a teenager. Suddenly, instead of looking forward to raising him, Karen has to prepare Jake for a future without her. So I assume she's terminal. When Jake asks to meet his dad, she reaches out reluctantly and is shocked to find him ecstatic about the son he never knew he had. Okay, so maybe he's not a teenager. I don't know. First, he can't meet Jake fast enough, and then he can't seem to leave him alone. Anyway, a family drama that I think is going to be very sad. With unexpected wit, humor, poignancy, Lauren Grodstein has created an unforgettable story about parenthood, sacrifice, and life itself. There's a couple books on this list that I'm terrified of, but I know I'll enjoy them, but I know that they're gonna hit different and they're gonna be more powerful and I might cry. This is probably gonna be one of them. Gotta have a vampire book on the list for the year, right? So, old classic. Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. Crusty, dusty. You guys all know, you've seen the movie, but this is the book that inspired the movie. There's no little thing, but you know what? I don't even really remember. It was Tom Cruise, it was Brad Pitt, it was Kirsten Dunst, and were Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise's characters like this, or were they I don't know. Anyways, I'll let you know after I read it. We've got Kiki's Delivery Service. Short read. This is the book that inspired the Studio Ghibli. I don't know which was written first. Was the book written first or was the movie written first? But a half-witch named Kiki never runs from a challenge, so when her 13th birthday arrives, she's eager to follow a witch's tradition, find a new town to call her home for 1 year. It's like a little witch apprenticeship. Bring was a book. Okay. Candy. I gotta have some addiction fiction on here. I love addiction fiction. And this one was a movie. I watched it many, many, many years ago. I don't even think I think I tried to re-find it to watch it again, and it's one of those movies that's hard to stream. But it was Heath Ledger, and it was maybe Naomi Watts or something. I think it was Naomi Watts. Candy by Kevin Brooks. And it says, Joe is just a kid from the right side of the tracks who cares about his music and not much else until he falls for a girl named Candy. It starts as an attraction, a crush, and then turns into something more like an obsession. Joe wants to be a part of Candy's world, but it's full of things he's never gone near before. Drugs, violence, desperation. The darker it becomes, the closer he gets to Candy's true identity. Sometimes love means tremendous pain. Sometimes love means heart-pounding danger. Sometimes love is sweet, but more often it stings. Joe is going to try to save Candy from the darkness, even if it means risking everything. This one is about 350 pages. See, if the book is as good as the movie usually is better, right? I have to read another book by, so William Landay wrote one of my favorite books ever, which is called Defending Jacob. Now you might think legal thrillers, he writes legal thrillers, are dry, but William Landay's, well, at least Defending Jacob is not, and neither are Kia Abdullah's. They are not dry. They're like action-packed. So this is another book by William Landay called The Strangler. Boston, 1963. Meet the charming, brawling Daly brothers. Joe is a cop whose gambling habits have dragged him down into the city's underworld. Michael is a lawyer, always the smartest man in the room, and Ricky is the youngest son, a prince of thieves, whose latest heist may be his last. For the Dalys, crime is the family business, and they're simply on different sides of it. Then a killer, a man who hunts women with brutal efficiency and no sign of stopping, strikes too close to the Daly home. The brothers unite to find the Strangler, a journey that leads to the darkest corners of Boston and exposes an even deeper mystery that threatens to tear the family apart. So this doesn't sound like it's a legal thriller. It just involves a lawyer. The Dalys. I hope it's every bit as good as Defending Jacob. Now, Defending Jacob is a mini-series on Apple TV that is pretty good. It's pretty good. I gotta continue this series by Peter May, so this is the next book in the series. It is called The Lewis Man. Look at that cover. Oh, my bookmarks. Oh, that's gonna look good. Anyways, The Lewis Man. Little shipwreck right there. Mummified body of a man is discovered in a peat bog on the Isle of Lewis, punctured by several stab wounds. The corpse is initially believed to be more than 2,000 years old until the police spot the Elvis tattoo on the right arm. Having recently left behind his previous life in Edinburgh, including his career as a detective inspector, native islander Finn McLeod finds himself again chasing his past across the beautiful rugged Outer Hebrides in a hunt for long-buried secrets. The first one was excellent. The first one is called The Black House, I believe. And I feel like I need to get to these. These feel wintry. Okay. Do you know how many times I've tried to rent this on Libby and it always comes in when I'm in the middle of like 3 other books, so then I have to like postpone it and I never get to it. My brother's read it. My friend Paul has read it, and they're always like, when are you gonna read? When are you gonna read Pines by Blake Crouch? So I got it. I found book number 1. I think it's a trilogy. And I heard the show is not good. Not only did I hear the show is not good, I remember watching a little bit of it and I was like, yeah, it's not good. Wayward Pines, Idaho is a quintessential small town America, or so it seems. Secret Service agent Ethan Brooke arrives in search of 2 missing federal agents, yet soon is facing much more than he bargained for. After a violent accident lands him in the hospital, Ethan comes with no ID and no cell phone. The medical staff seems friendly enough, but something feels off of novellas that turn. I can't get the trilogy anywhere. I need it. I've been trying. I check Libby all the time. I check Amazon. But anyways, it was the trilogy that inspired the show Good Behavior, which I loved. Good Behavior. If you can find it, give it a watch. Blake Crouch Pines. I want to read one true crime this year, and that true crime is going to be In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. November 15th, 1959, the small town of Holcomb, Kansas. 4 members of the Clutter family were savagely murdered by blasts from a shotgun held a few inches from their faces. There was no apparent motive for the crime, and there were almost no clues. Truman Capote reconstructs the murder investigation that led to the capture, trial, and execution of the killers. In cold blood. We've got. I need a little bit of brothel. Okay, always gotta have a brothel book of the year, and this is Sin in the Second City. Madams, Ministers, Playboys, and the Battle for America's Soul by Karen Abbott. It is a New York Times bestseller. Step into the perfume parlors of Chicago's Everly Club, the most famous brothel in American history and the catalyst for a culture war that rocked the nation. Minna and Ada Everly, 2 sisters who operated the club at the dawn of the last century, were unlike other madams. The Everlys made sure the girls dined down gourmet food, were examined by honest physicians, and were even tutored in the literature of Balzac. But not everyone appreciated the sisters' attempts to elevate the industry. Progressive era reformers sprouting lurid tales of white slavery ignited a furor that shaped America's sexual culture and had repercussions all the way to the White House, even leading to the formation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is gonna be good. So, if you guys really want to look into another like crazy brothel horror type true story, is it Seattle or Portland? One of the major city was basically built off something much more, the birth of a new faith and a startling vision for human destiny. Now, this is a duology, at least. I don't really think I'll read the second one because I think that one is more on the sci-fi side, but I feel like this book looks like a summer read to me. Featuring new forward by acclaimed actor and author Liv Harper. Okay. History of the Kelly Gang. So this is essentially like my Western, because I've been reading Westerns. Like French Westerns, I guess, more so French Westerns. And I feel like this is gonna scratch that itch, even though it's not necessarily like maybe a French Western. Okay. True story of the Kelly Gang. Legendary Ned Kelly speaks for himself, scribbling his narrative on errant scraps of paper in a semi-literate but magically descriptive prose as he flees from the police. To his pursuers, Kelly is nothing but a monstrous criminal, a thief, a murderer to his own people, the lowly class of ordinary Australians. The bushranger is a hero defying authority of the English to direct their lives. Indentured by his bootlegger mother to a famous horse thief who was also her lover, Ned saw his first prison cell at 15. By the age of 26, he became the most wanted man in Wild Colony in Victoria. So this, can you even say it's a Western if it's in Australia? Probably not. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's gonna scratch the same itch is what I'm talking about. Here's a classic outlaw tale, made alive by the skill of a great novelist. An outlaw tale. An outlaw tale. It won the Booker Prize. Okay. We are at 25 minutes. Let's get through a couple more, and then I'll do a second video. Okay. Bought this full price. Still haven't gotten to it yet, and that is Martyr. 90% of the people that have read Martyr by Kavat Ekbar have loved it, but I have seen a couple bad reviews of it, so I'm not gonna have my expectations up here. I'm gonna just see what it do, okay? Sensual, oniric, and wonderfully strange, says the Washington Post. Cyrus Shams is a young man grappling with inheritance of violence and loss. His mother's plane was shot down over the skies of the Persian Gulf in a senseless accident. His father's life in America was circumscribed by his work, killing chickens at a factory farm in the Midwest. Cyrus is a drunk, an addict, and a poet whose obsession with martyrs leads him to examine the mysteries of his past. Toward an uncle who rode through the Iranian battlefields dressed as the angel of death to inspire and comfort the dying. And toward his mother through a painting discovered in Brooklyn Art Gallery that suggests she may not have been who or what she seemed. We'll see. Okay. What's this? Praise. It is a National Book Award finalist. Gotta do it. I've heard too much about it not to. And the second book to this, Bride by Ellie Hazelwood, is out. So if I like it, I'll continue the series. This will be my first Ellie Hazelwood. Misery Lark, daughter of powerful vampire councilman, is an outcast. Her days of living anonymously among the humans are over. She is called upon to uphold an alliance between vampires and their mortal enemies, the Wares. Wares are ruthless, unpredictable, and their alpha, Low Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice or feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right she was. ... You know what? Side note, and then we're gonna end this. I use, isn't it called like the M dash? I don't know, the ... I use that a lot in my writing, like when I'm just typing and stuff. I'm like ... It's like or it's like, I don't know what anyways. And now people are thinking that the ... is always AI. So I'm like, I'm not gonna quit using it. It's just how it's me like pausing, and it's not always AI. Anyways, I gotta get going. I'm going to put all these books up, film the next video, and then I have to actually start my day. So if you watched this all the way to the end, thank you very much.